Alright, welcome back to another edition of the Golden Sun No Save and Quit tutorial. Last time we finished off a lot of the path to the final dungeons of the game, which is Tunnel Ruins of Venus Lighthouse. And we're now in a position to kind of sprint the very end of the game, and this part of the game is not too difficult conceptually. It's basically blow things up with summons and don't die, but there's a ton of RNG involved because encounters are so slow. And, of course, if you get caught by surprise, you just kind of die. So, let's kick it off with Tunnel Ruins. Now, Tunnel Ruins is kind of interesting. There's only really one encounter that you should expect in this area. You'd be very, very unlucky to get two. The reason being that there's so many different puzzle rooms, and there's no encounters in the puzzle rooms, so you're very, very unlikely to get two encounters and almost certain to get one. So, this puzzle here, you have a choice. You can do the move clip here or not. That's revealed. Should probably hotkey move somewhere. I like to hotkey move to Garrett instead of Isaac in this instance because I'm in a position where Isaac's PP is completely wrecked from all the retreat warps that I've done. Recall that in the previous one I was using the retreat warp strategies to get through some of these dungeons. If you haven't used the retreat warp, Isaac will have a lot more PP. Feel free to hotkey move in that instance. You'll need to drain off some PP later on anyway. I'm going to hotkey to Garrett. Away we go. Move this guy out this way, and now I'm going to, well, this puzzle here only really requires one pillar to be solved, so if I do this, then I've solved the puzzle. I can run down here and jump across just fine. That's how we'd normally solve the puzzle, but there is a move clip. The move clip is a technique that is a little bit more popular in Golden Sun 2, because there's more uses of it, but this is the one instance in the game where it actually is useful here, so let's just point this out real quick. You want to get Isaac into this position here. It doesn't look like much, but let me show you what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is Isaac's shadow. So you can see here that Isaac's shadow is aligned on this pixel here. So the leftmost pixel is aligned with this thick line over here, and the interior 2 pixels here, the top part of that is aligned with this pixel here. So that's what I'm looking at, that's what I'm trying to observe and be like, oh hey, if I get into this position, casting move will probably allow me to move clip. So we're going to do that, just to see what it looks like. I don't suggest you go for this, because it is basically frame perfect, and, so not frame perfect, pixel perfect, and pixel perfect things are just hard. So let's try and do this. So I'm going to try and get my vertical sorted. The vertical looks fine. I'm going to try and get, oh no, I messed up my vertical. Nice. Where's my... 1 pixel too low. That looks okay. Gonna get that back pixel lined up. Use move, hold up, and we clip up to the top of the move color. But as you can see, it can take a little while to get that precise positioning down. So practice it. If you like it, use it. If you don't, it's not really a huge time loss. We're talking like seconds at most. Now we continue on. Because we chose the blue path, we go straight down. Yellow path is like literally minutes longer, so we never ever do it. These puzzles over here are really straightforward. Just move the things into position and use douse. What I like to do is I like to use my synergy with Isaac in this area. Like I kind of mentioned that I have move on Garrett, but I like to use douse and frost with Isaac wherever it makes sense. So if, for instance, in this puzzle it makes sense, so we do that. Another room where we hold down. This puzzle has no move clip, unfortunately, but that's fine. Just move the pillar into place, and again I'm going to use douse and frost with Isaac. Sometimes you don't have enough PP and you have to use something with Mia. Mia has douse, so if you only have like 9 PP or something, use douse first with Mia and then use frost. In this instance, I'm going to use frost with Isaac and douse with Isaac, just to get him to like triple, well, 0 PP. That's going to be important because there's a retreat glitch coming up in Venus 2. Right. Easy puzzle. Alright, so this is one of the Tunnel Ruins encounters. It's kind of indicative of what's to come, basically. It's a little bit more dangerous than Tunnel Ruins, and almost there for Venus 2. So, with all of these encounters, what you should be aiming to do is basically use Flash. Flash is important. And then blow it up with 2 tier 4 summons. These guys are tanky. They basically will take all the punishment that you dish out to them, and then some. I'm going to try and do Judgment. I would use Thor because the Wild Griffins are weak to Jupiter, but I don't have Thor, so I'm going to try Judgment on the Wild Griffin, and then I'm going to try Boreas on the Manticore King. Nice glitch. Just remember that Flash is a 90% damage reduction, and Isaac just took 34 damage from Twin Beaks, so if you don't have Flash on, that's like, what, 300 damage or something? Whoops. So yeah, all these encounters are very dangerous, so if you're ever worried you're not going to kill, throw in an additional tier 3 or an additional tier 4 just to guarantee the kill, because if you don't kill in that first turn, not having Flash is just the end. Okay, so this puzzle here is quite simple. There is a fastest way to do it. This is the fastest way to do it, believe it or not. You can mirror the solution so that you end with start with the Venus side if you like, but it's up to you. Basically, first of all, move the Jupiter into position, then move this guy into position, the Venus statue. Then move the Mercury into position. Moving these statues into position is surprisingly difficult because Isaac loves to ricochet off the edges. Particularly when you're on like gamepad or like Wii U or something. Next we're going to move the Mars one into position. Now the trick here is to make it go through the middle. And then cast move here to move it up into position. Finally, we move the center one into position. And the puzzle is solved. We also recovered most of our PP, most of our gem. And now we're in Venus Lighthouse. Fantastic. Sorry, I don't want to say ground, I want to say Flash. Alright. On our way, we immediately go up left, and we navigate to this room right here. So this is where the last retreat glitch in the game is going to happen. We have damage on people. I could use move. I'm just going to use a quick cure. And yeah, that's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to go into retreat mode, through the door, and we've warped to this side. That's a pretty significant skip. It cuts out about the first 30 to 40% of the dungeon, which is quite nice. And now we continue on our way. So, Venus Lighthouse is pretty much identical to Tunnel Ruins in strategy. That is, use Flash, always use Flash, and then blow up whatever you can, basically. I'm going to do this and Meteor. Some of these weak encounters can be cleared by tier 4, tier 3, but unless you're familiar with which ones will die, I never want to take risks. I just want to blow things up as quickly as possible to minimize actions, and then, yep, that's it. That's all I want to do. Haunting is not good. Good. Haunting is still not good. That's still fine. Right, easy. Okay, so the thing about Venus Lighthouse, and mostly the thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing this dungeon, is that Venus Lighthouse has a bunch of areas has a bunch of areas where there are no encounters. Knowing where these areas are allows you to recover Jin if you happen to be in a bad position, because, you know, if we're using 2 tier 4s in any given summon, look how many Jin are on standby. In this configuration, I'm actually getting 5 recoveries. 3 lots of recoveries instead of 2. So knowing where we can do safe Jin recoveries can be the difference between living and dying in an encounter. So let's highlight where all those places are. So this is a map of the areas in Venus Lighthouse which we actually traverse. Any area that I've highlighted in pink is a no encounter area. So to kind of put that into perspective, or to kind of identify that, I think I need to use a different color really quick. Hold on. Pink, yellow. Nice. Alright. So, where we are right now is up in this region. Excuse me, please work. Nice. We're up in this region here. Okay, now this will work. Yeah, it works. Okay, so in this region up here, all this area on the ground, where the puzzle area is, has no encounters. So all of this, you know, we go through here, all of this stuff and come back, all of that has no encounters. So we can safely recover Jinn. We don't really need to, like, because we'll recover plenty while we're down here, but it's good to know you're not going to get encounters down here. After we go through the door and come through, we're going to come to this puzzle room over here eventually. This puzzle room over here also has no encounters. As we've talked about previously, in puzzle rooms you generally don't have encounters, so that's a really good thing. If we continue through the puzzle room, we end up in the Sandfall room. This is like the main part of the final bit of the Venus dungeon. In every Sandfall, there is no encounters. So I've highlighted 3 regions here. I have this one, and this one. No encounters in any of those regions, so anytime you're running on sand, you're not getting encounters, so that's really, really helpful, particularly as we're coming back, as we're coming down this side for the first time, this side here. We'll often want to make use of that instance to recover Jinn, so that's quite helpful. We go through this door. When we first go in here, the path through the room is this. Yep, and through here. And in this room here, the Dragon Scale room, or this Dragon Scale area, on this grate here, there's no encounters for some reason. So keep that one in mind, because that's quite helpful. There is encounters everywhere else, but specifically on this grate, there are no encounters. As we continue, we end up in this region here. No encounters because it's a puzzle room. That takes us back down to the Sandfall, which is fine. Then we go through to Q, which is over here. No encounters in the Gaia Blade room, as we've kind of alluded to, and no encounters in this room over here either. So basically, there's a few places where we can take time to recover our Jinn if we need to. Generally puzzle rooms, but the one thing that we really want to keep in mind is the Sandfall. No encounters on a Sandfall, and that's going to allow us to recover Jinn in a precarious situation. Alright, with that out of the way, let's dive back in. Alright. Unfortunately, there's no move clip here. It would be quite useful if there was, but there isn't. This area I'm in actually is like a little bit of Golden Sun's sleight of hand. It's like, really I'm walking on an entirely different area of the map, but you wouldn't realize it because the game is sneaky like that. My Jinn is recovered, set Flash. This is a scary encounter. Okay, so in this encounter, the most dangerous enemy is this Storm Lizard off to the right. Basically, he's a huge jerk. This Thunder Lizard, man, huge jerk. He has this ability called Storm Blessing. Storm Blessing can stun people. If the wrong people get stunned, well, we're not going to have a very fun time, let's just say that. So, I'm going to do something that will allow me to overkill this fight, just in case the Thunder Lizard wants to stun people, which should be rather annoying. So, what am I going to do here? I think I'm going to try Judgment. I'm going to throw Thor in here, and I'm going to do a Boreas. So generally I'd try to only use 2 tier 4s to get away with things, but keep in mind that these guys can stun you. If somebody gets stunned, then I really want to make sure I've got the added damage to make sure that I can finish this fight. Thank God for Flash. Alright, we didn't get Storm Blessing, that's useful. Now Judgment should just kill, that's fine. Alright, no problem. A little bit scary, but that encounter is always going to be scary. So this puzzle room here, lots of ways to do this puzzle semi-optimally. This is the way that I do it. Down, left, straight into this block, then up. Push this guy down. Then I like to do this movement, so down, right, down, left, to push these blocks into position. Left, to push this guy into position. Straight down, to push this guy into position. And then push this guy up. And I think that's the fastest way to solve the puzzle, but I'm under the impression that there are multiple solutions, so time it out, see what you like. I'm going to recover a gin tick in here, mostly because I'm a little bit scared, because I don't know what encounter step I have, in theory, so I just want to make sure that I'm not going to die. No encounters on the sandfall, and no encounters on this grate. So, next thing we should talk about is the dragon scales. As we talked about last time, these guys here are the dragon scales. They're very, very good items for a casual playthrough. They provide you with a lot of resist, a lot of defense, but we're still not going to get them. The reason why we're not going to get them is, recall that the damage calculation formula from last time is this. So the damage calculation formula is the attack minus the defend divided by 2 equals your damage. So, plus 44 defense is effectively minus 22 damage because of the divide by 2. But under Granite, where most of our... so on the final fight, we're either going to be under Flash or under Granite. Under Granite, this is attack minus defense divided by 4 equals damage. So now that plus 44 defense is only resulting in 11 less damage, which is hardly significant, and is the reason why I skip it. We're not too worried about the synergy, the Mars damage or whatever, mostly because that is never going to be significant enough to cause us grief. So Golden Sun is interesting like that, but yeah, it is what it is. Alright. Another puzzle room, no encounters here, that's kind of useful. You can hotkey carry here, we don't need to use retreat anymore in the speedrun, so we can just use carry on a hotkey to save fractions of a second. Carry loves to not connect, so just be aware of that. Sometimes it'll be a little bit annoying like that. Continue on our merry way, still no encounters. Ah, it was already set up, whoops. My digression distracted me. Right, let's continue on our way. Great, another one of these encounters. Another hang up as well, that's kind of annoying. So again, I'm going to throw a Thor in there just for safety. Hopefully we don't get Storm Blessinged. That's fine, that's fine. That's... Alright, nobody got stunned, but that's the dangerous ability, that's the thing we really, really don't want to see, so thankfully nothing bad happened there, so that's good. No encounters on sand, so what we can do is we can just run up here, recover some extra gen. That allows us to basically guarantee our safety heading through to the Gaia Blade. Alright, this encounter's not so scary, this is fine. What are you doing here? We're going to do... probably Judgment. I'm gonna throw in a Tiamat just to be safe, and a Thor. The notes will go into detail as to what summons you should be using in the general strategy, so I'm not too fussed about this. Again, generally, 2 tier Thors of any description will kill, so just be aware of that. Why is my emulator hanging so much today? Wow. Wow, that didn't die. Good thing I had Tiamat. Ooh. Alright, again, another puzzle room, no encounters, so quite useful. We get the Gaia Blade here. The Gaia Blade is really important. You will need to practice the movement on the sand, by the way. It can be kind of difficult to navigate. There's really no trick to it other than just kind of knowing what you're doing. You can take it slowly like this, so where you're just holding the direction you intend to go to as you move across the sand. But ideally you're walking with the sand flow to get a little bit more speed, so like this. But it basically just takes a little bit of practice. Right, Gaia Blade. Gaia Blade, really good sword. We don't really care about the plus attack, we do care about the plus power. That's going to make Isaac's judgments in the final fight a lot stronger, so it's the reason why we take the minor detour to go and get the Gaia Blade. As soon as you're able to, give that to Isaac. I'm going to leave that... no, I'm going to give it to him now, actually. It's worthwhile giving it to him now if he's using judgments and whatnot, so... keep that in mind, it's good to put that on him. And away we go, continuing on. We have this lovely puzzle. This puzzle's probably like the last real big puzzle in the game. It's quite nice. It gives you an opportunity to gather your thoughts before the final fight. The notes tell you how to do this puzzle quickly, but the way you do it is you move that block into this position, this block into here. And what I like to do is I like to move this guy down, because this block needs to go into this hole. Using move is slower than pushing a block, if you haven't realized that already. So what I do is I leave it there, move this block into position, push this down into position, and then finally fix this guy up like this. And I believe that saves like a second overall in terms of movement. So it's not insignificant, but it's not super significant either. Alright. Continuing on our way, just checking my gin because I forgot if I had or not. Alright, keeping them going. Oh, this encounter I might be able to clear without needing to use a tier 4. Sorry, without needing to use 2 tier 4s, I should say. Damn, he lives with 8 HP, that's annoying. And we're almost at the end. Notice how I'm not getting any Jin recovery, so I'm just going to spend some time right here to get some Jin back. Alright, one last encounter. And we don't have Thor, that's convenient. Okay, so we'll probably need to use... we can do Meteor Boreas, I think. I don't know, I remember these Grand Golems being extremely tanky, so maybe I'm not going to kill the Grand Golem, but that's fine. It's very slow, so we don't have to worry too much. Yep, these guys are tanky. Right, and that takes us to the end. I generally skip getting that Synergy Stone, because it's basically a waste of time. We don't need PP on anybody that currently has no PP for the final fight, and walking to it is going to incur more encounter step, and could give us another encounter, so generally speaking I'm not going to get it. If you're brave, you can recover a Jin here. We can, because we got an encounter really early on. And then we'll have to recover one once we get to the top of the lighthouse, that's fine. So that's basically the path through Venus Lighthouse. We jump down here and we're done. And away we go. We will skip these cutscenes really quickly. Fantastic. Alright, and we're done. Venus Lighthouse is a dangerous place. As you've seen, the encounters are tough. Even through Flash, we have people that are like extremely beat up. If you know that Isaac is level 19, that means 1 Mercury Gem on Isaac will give you a revive, so that could be useful instead of using Water of Life. Otherwise, use Waters of Life as you need to. Sometimes you're going to get caught by surprise, and it's going to be nasty, and that sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. Use the Waters of Life, that's what they're there for. Make sure you're always using Flash. If you're not using Flash, you will regret it, I guarantee you. And if things go wrong, just try and dump as much damage output as you reasonably can. to the point where you're even duplicating the summons. So let's say you only had 2 tier 4s available for whatever reason because you got really unlucky. Do a duplicate of a tier 4 summon if you have to, just to guarantee that the damage is going to get off, because the only thing, you can always recover from a position where 3 people are dead, you can't recover from a position where everybody is dead. So do everything in your power to end the fight, just throw all the damage in there, and that's really all you can do in this part of the game. Unfortunately, it's just what it is. There's a ton of RNG in this segment, as you can see. Each of those encounters takes quite a long time. The number of encounters we get will greatly determine our final time. And attacks first in Venus 2 is really literally saving 30 seconds. It's quite insane. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Venus Lighthouse 2, and the next time we're going to go into the menu for the final fight, doing the final fight, and basically clearing out the final parts of the game. So we're at the end, one part to go, and we'll see you in the next one. As always, if you've got feedback, leave it in the comments. I'm super open to doing more content to answer questions. Alright, see you on the next one.